Brosky Ray present creepy TikToks that will make you rethink reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Oh man, it all makes sense with the rumors that are being put out by Usher. Do you know who that is? We'll get to who she is here in a second, but just wait. Oh, it's definitely starting to make sense. As you can see, this is A$AP Rocky right here, right? It's definitely starting to make sense. As you can see, that's the Migos right there. I think we're missing one of those members, right? This is Mrs. Michelle Lamy, and I'm sure this picture right here tells 1,000 words in itself, right? If you don't know about the controversy behind Usher or why I'm showing you this lady, I'll fill you in. There was a photo of Usher that was released just recently. And in that photo, you can clearly see that it looked nothing like Usher to even begin with. I'm sure everybody's up to date about the cloning process that's rumored to happen in the industry, right? I know it sounds crazy, right? I'm sure we all sound like conspiracy theorists, I get it. But why do you think they made a show called Who Cloned Tyrone? People really need to start thinking outside the box. And this is A$AP Rocky's wife, Rihanna. If this photo in itself doesn't tell you that there's some weird shit going on, I really don't know what will. But this lady right here has a lot of controversy behind her name. But as you can see, Michelle Lamy is a French culture and fashion figure. She's been a clothing designer, a performer, film producer, and more, and is the wife of none other than Rick Owens. Does anybody know who Rick Owens is? Because God, once you dig a little deep, you can't stop digging. And then you start to find things that you really thought you would never find in the first place. Things that you actually can't present openly here on TikTok anymore, and reasons of why I actually started a Twitter profile. Do look for my link in the bio. But the fact that Usher is heavily associated with this woman just tells me everything I need to know.
Michelle Lamy, aka the High Priestess of Paris. She carried the prosthetic head to attend the Rick Owens Fall Winter 2020 show. She also owned a satanist shop. If you don't know, now you know.
Wild. There's this mega festival being built in Romania right now, and they've got like some of the biggest artists in the world, like Travis Scott, Yeet, Ice Spice, Don Toliver, Wiz Khalifa, and 200 more. But somehow they've got tickets for as low as £150 for 5 days. I mean, for perspective, Rolling Loud, the only other festival in Europe to have Travis, is £220 for just the weekend. And Wireless in the UK is £258, and they don't even have Travis. It's called Beach Please. It's back for its third year, running from the 10th to the 14th of July. And has now become the most affordable music festival of its size in all of Europe. This is what it looked like in 2023, and apparently this year it's 10 times bigger. Getting there is easy. There's direct flights from places like London, Paris, Berlin, and Rome. As for accommodation, camping at the festival is as low as £50. Or if you want to stay at a hotel, the festival is providing multiple buses and trains running non-stop along the coast, getting you to and from the festival hassle-free. Now, if you want more details, visit beachplease.ro. And if you follow their IG and TikTok in the next 7 days, one of you guys has the chance to win a fully paid trip to the festival for two from anywhere in the world. They will announce the winner 3 days later. Tickets are on sale now, and all I'm gonna say is, if they book KSI, I'ma be there.
Here's the catch. It's in Romania. The pickpocketing will go crazy. I hope nothing will go wrong.
Everybody, it's Babs. Did your mother ever tell you the secret ingredient to be bug-free all summer long? It's cinnamon. Use ground cinnamon to keep those maggots, flies, and critters out of your trash can. Just sprinkle a light layer at the bottom. Don't forget the lid, just a soft sprinkle. Bye-bye raccoons. Use cinnamon sticks to keep those fruit flies away. All you have to do is place a few in your fruit bowl, and you'll be fruit fly free. Use my cinnamon spray to keep those mosquitoes at bay. To make your spray, just whisk in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon into 4 cups of warm water and let it sit out and let it steep like you would tea. Strain your cinnamon mixture right into your spray bottle. Mix in a half a teaspoon of rubbing alcohol and a half a teaspoon of dish detergent.
Nice.
Shake and spray. It'll keep mosquitoes away, and it's safe for you too. Just spray away.
Nice.
And it smells great.
Wow, the way she taught us how to make it instead of trying to sell us an overpriced product. I love the smell of cinnamon, by the way.
The celebrity claims that no humans built the pyramids.
No people built the pyramids.
No people?
No.
Who built them?
No people built the pyramids. And if you look around the world, you see certain telltale things that let you know that advanced machinery was in usage. So, yes, thousands of years worth of people were there, but that doesn't have anything to do with the building of it.
Who do you think built it?
Well, understand, we know enough now to understand that this was a complex. We've been led to believe that this is how much they worshipped their dead bodies.
Right.
but the evidence doesn't show any of that.
No, it
like,
doesn't.
like when you see inside, when they have those intricate carvings and paintings and stuff in gold and stuff, you have to remember this is in a windowless room, folks. There's no candle soot. There's no this. It's clearly a power plant and built specifically for that location on this planet. For
What do you think it was powered
usage.
by?
The hot water springs underneath it.
So it was powered by the hot water spring?
What's her name?
He's talking about the Anunnaki, aka the fallen angels. Cat is one smart cookie.
Lord Eastley.
Where are you from?
I am from Monaco.
How you like it here?
It's very interesting to be here. Yeah, it's a nice place. It's a kind of, imagine the Cinderella castle, you are in it.
How much money do you spend each month living in Monaco, including everything?
Oh, I cannot say that.
Estimate number.
I cannot. And I don't want. I don't want to talk about money, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Okay.
What's your job? What do you do?
I'm president of the International Diplomatic Committee.
How do you spend your month living in life in Monaco, and maybe you travel? How do you spend your time?
I have a lot of work to do. Then I pass my part of my time on my computer with my connection of the office. So to give you an idea, I just finished to work now. Then now I go to take a coffee somewhere just to take a little bit rest.
What watch is that?
It's a nice watch.
Do you mind telling us the name?
No, because I was attacked 2 times by people who want to steal my watches.
Is it safe in Monaco?
Completely.
Very safe.
Really, to give you an idea, there is 500 cameras for just 2 kilometers square.
What? So, how old are you, if you don't mind?
74.
What's the most fun memory you have from your entire life? Any fun memory?
No, my very best memory is my kids.
Okay.
When my kids, the born of my kids.
Is it worth it to have kids?
If we follow the law of God, you must have a kids.
If you were to give one life advice to everyone that's watching, it can be anything. What would you say?
He say, the time is not yours. Then don't live like you are eternal. Use all the time for your benefit and take the pleasure of the life.
People that don't talk about money are the wealthiest. Plus, that Richard Mille watch says it all.
10,000 human remains were found on a farm outside of Indianapolis, and authorities are still identifying the victims. But let's get into the story. This is Herb Baumeister, the suspect. Herb moved his wife and 3 sons into this farm outside of Indianapolis in 1988. Authorities believe for nearly a decade, Herb was using his farm to dispose of human remains that he had unalived. The remains, according to authorities, were all young men, mostly gay men, very reminiscent of John Wayne Gacy. His family, as is the case for most serial killers, were not suspecting that Herb was doing anything until one day, one of his sons found a human skull on the property and brought it to his wife. They called the police. The police wanted to do some investigation on the property, but his wife refused. But once she began to see the evidence piling up against him, she divorced him. Before Herb could be apprehended, he fled to Canada in 1996, where he then unalived himself with a shotgun. He left a note, but he never admitted to anything. He never confessed. So it's been nearly 30 years that authorities have been investigating this property and going through all of the remains. They believe that and suspect that he is guilty of unaliving at least 25 people. Now, the human body has 206 bones in it. In doing the math, there's possibly around 48 bodies on his property. This location is about 3 hours south of where John Wayne Gacy disposed of his bodies in his crawl space near Kirkwood, Illinois, Des Plaines, Illinois. And it's about 4 hours south from where Jeffrey Dahmer did his crimes. Let me know if you want me to do a breakdown of Herb, if I can find a lot of information about him and his biopsychosocial history, and see how he fits into the serial killer profile.
I thought she meant 10,000 people, and I was like, how is that even possible? But still, it's horrific.
Y'all been waiting for this one. Your hack to get rid of ants. This is going to be mainly for ants that are outside of your home, but it would probably work inside your home as well. There's only one thing that you need, and it is cornstarch. You can get this from any grocery store, you can get it from the dollar store, but you just need a little box of cornstarch. And wherever you see ants, like if you see a little trail of ants, you're just going to sprinkle this along that trail. And just so you know, this is safe to use around pets. Dogs and cats can eat cornstarch. You don't want them to eat too much of it because it could just upset their tummy a little, but it's not toxic to them. So feel free to sprinkle this in your house or sprinkle it outside where you have pets. Okay, the way this works is ants cannot digest cornstarch. So you're going to sprinkle it where they're at. They're going to pick it up and they're going to take it back to their colony, and everyone's going to feed on it and they're all going to die. You can use the ant hack from my last video along with this hack, and one, you're going to repel them away, and you're going to kill the ones that are coming in your yard already. This is probably the most cheap and simple way that I can come up with to get rid of ants, and you're not using any chemicals or any harmful substances. No need to go buy any name brand insecticides or anything like that. Go buy a box of cornstarch. I promise it works. Comment and let me know what you think, and let me know what else you need.
That's crazy. The ants will start a bakery.
Make it make sense. Deli cheese in a plastic bag, bread in a plastic bag, almond milk in a plastic jug, blueberries in a plastic carton, paper towels in a plastic wrap, peppers in plastic, plastic bags for your produce, meat wrapped in plastic. But they won't give you a plastic bag or a brown bag, unless if you pay for it, of course, because we're saving the environment. Anybody explain that?
We live in a world of lies. Now it's been explained.
It's always been about money, and it's okay to inconvenience the consumer, but not the corporation.
In New York, the couple landing the catch of the day. They were magnet fishing along a stream in Queens, looking for metal objects in the water. They pulled up a safe containing about $100,000 in waterlogged bills. Police told them the safe is not connected to a crime. It is unclear how it got there.
Well, after the NYPD released it, and upon further inspection, they couldn't even take it in as evidence. They gave it to us, as I guess you would call it a finders keepers thing, with no evidence of foul play or something they mentioned like that. I plan on taking it to Washington. To the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. That's the only way to get it restored. If not, it is literally garbage.
You know he's going to get hit with income tax on this.
74-year-old woman who was thought to be dead made a startling comeback at a funeral home in Nebraska Monday. Officials say the woman was pronounced dead by staffers at a nursing home where she'd been in hospice. Workers transported her to a funeral home, but while preparing her body for service, a staff member noticed she was still breathing and called 911. The woman was taken to the hospital and an investigation is underway.
Something way off with this story, and I sure wouldn't want to go back to that nursing home. Kanye West, Michelle Lamy, Kim Kardashian, and Rick Owen.
This headline today and was in shock. Mexico elects first female president. Great, cool. You see this woman, oh, she's the new president. Cool. Claudia Sheinbaum was elected the country's first female president after a bloody election campaign that saw 37 candidates assassinate.
This is crazy.
No offense to you, Claudia Sheinbaum. I think this is that's the story here. What? 37? Not one, not two, not three, not four. 37. 38 politicians have been killed since January 1st in Mexico. What is going on? Does the cartel do this every year? Is this just like, January 1st, restart the tracker? But again, congratulations to Mexico's first female president, Claudia Sheinbaum. Here's a photo I found of her with the CEO of BlackRock.
Okay.
It just happened to be in my phone. Another news about Claudia, her religion was called into question because in a tweet she said, "Thank you, Jesus," after she won the election. And this person tweeted, "I've never seen a less Jewish Jew than this." And then there was Todd Richmond, important to note that she's not involved in the Jewish community, and thank Jesus for her victory. But as it turns out, these individuals did not do their research, and she was not thanking Jesus. She was thanking Jesus, her husband. Thank you, Jesus, my husband. Fascinating stuff going down in Mexico. Y'all be safe.
So cartels, condom ballads, folks.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Now, it took me about 10 minutes to understand this when I first heard it. So first of all, a real G is a gangster. So this is like, a gangster is the #1 heroic figure for rappers, because you think of, Scarface or Tony Soprano and these kinds of criminals who lead very dramatic, almost operatic lives, you might say. And a real G moves in silence because a real gangster probably doesn't tell people they're a gangster. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. How is a real G moving in silence like lasagna? Well, the word lasagna in English is not pronounced lasagna. Now, I think German words almost never have silent letters. But in English, we have a lot of silent letters. And lasagna has a silent G.
Lasagna.
Lil Wayne is a genius. You should go listen to him right away.
Yes, it's clever, but it should not take this long to explain.
How does somebody go from looking like this to all of a sudden, this is what they look like? Most of these rappers, most of these celebrities, when they start out, they look nothing like what they look like now. Lil Uzi, when he started, he was talking about guns, money, women, the usual nonsense, but he wasn't looking like this. And it's not just him. I can name many. Playboy Carti's the same. Look at him now. And it's because these celebrities, what they do to get in that position and maintain that, they are manifesting the spirit that is on the inside of them. The reason why over time their appearance and their countenance changes is because what is on the inside is coming to the surface. And as a Christian, we shouldn't be surprised by this because the Bible says that we should do the same. We who have the Holy Spirit should manifest the fruits of the Spirit, and over time we would look more like Jesus Christ. The Bible lets us know that as we mature in our walk, we're supposed to look more, we're supposed to be conformed into the image of Jesus Christ. These celebrities, the spirit that they carry, these demonic spirits that they carry, they are being changed into the form and the image of what's on the inside of them. People always wonder, why is the music industry so satanic? Why are they so demonic, all of them? It's because they all carry an essence of the same spirit. And that's why mainly they all look the same, the end anyway. Either overtly sexual or just overtly demonic. As this world is more than flesh and blood, and the Bible lets us know that we are dealing with spiritual entities on a daily basis. And that's why as Christians we're supposed to be aware of what spirit we carry and how we look on the outside. These guys are not afraid to manifest the spirit on the inside of them. As a Christian, you should not be afraid to let the fruit of the Holy Spirit be manifest in your life as well.
They are coming out now because some people are still spiritually blind and think that it's creativity, but something else is influencing them. If you know, you know.
The world is not what you have been told. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not simply just a giant stone structure built by primitive cultures. They've been lying to us. There's significant evidence suggesting that the pyramids were once covered by a flood. The beings who built these structures knew how to harness the Earth's energy and had a profound understanding of the stars. All the pyramids are aligned with the Orion constellation, hinting at their superior astronomical knowledge and their potential in converting celestial energy into usable power. But here's where it gets even crazier. The materials used in the pyramid's construction were no coincidence. The Nile River used to flow much closer to the pyramids than it does today. Satellite imagery and geological studies suggest that ancient channels of the Nile once brought water directly to the base of the pyramids. The pyramid's base is made out of conductive granite blocks that are filled with quartz crystals. The quartz has piezoelectric properties, meaning it is able to generate an electric charge when under pressure. The massive weight of the pyramid creates this constant pressure, therefore producing a continuous electric charge. The Nile's water acted like a hydroelectric dam. Its movement generated electromagnetic energy. Together, water, quartz, and granite were able to produce electricity. The capstones, which are now missing, also played a crucial role in this energy system. They acted as the pyramid's transmitter, collecting and directing the energy produced and possibly transmitting it wirelessly. These were not merely tombs built by slave populations, they were advanced energy machines. Just think about it. Why would a tomb need electricity?
And the fact that they've been perfectly aligned with the Orion constellation, it makes you think that the Earth doesn't move. There is more to this than what we've been told. Let me know how you feel about this.
Pressure is the second leading cause of death in America. And most of people that actually suffer from high blood pressure, when they go to their doctor, they have a normal EKG, they have a normal EEG, they have normal heart and lung sounds, they have a normal dye contrast study, they have a normal cardiac catheterization. All their cardiac workup is normal. Why do they have high blood pressure? Their doctor will tell you because your father had it and your grandfather had it and your great-grandmother on your mother's side had it. You genetically inherited that hypertension. Next time you know what to say. Oh, what gene did I inherit that caused that? Watch their face go blank. What happens is when you have this gene mutation, you cannot lower an amino acid in your blood called homocysteine. If this is a naturally occurring amino acid, but genetically we break this amino acid down into another harmless amino acid which quiets our mind. And if we can't quiet our mind, now we're told that we have ADHD or ADD. That's another famous one, or OCD. And so if I can't actually lower that amino acid, then what happens is it rises in my bloodstream. As it circulates around in my bloodstream, my arteries clamp down. If you make the pipes smaller in a fixed system, pressure goes up. And now we hold the heart responsible for a crime it hasn't committed. We start pounding on a perfectly healthy organ with beta blockers and calcium channel blockers and diuretics, trying to pound a healthy organ into submission for a crime it is not committing, and we do this for decades. So if you lower homocysteine, by the way, if you ever watched my video with Dana White, this is exactly what happened to Dana White. He was on 3 blood pressure medications. When I met him 10 weeks later, he was on no blood pressure medication. He had perfectly normal blood pressure. He was off of his antidepressants and off of his thyroid medication. And so we put these raw materials back into the human body, and that's how we just restore that vascular laxity to normal, and then the pressure returns to normal.
So did he figure out a cure, or is he going to keep telling us how everything around us is working against us?
Doctor sacrificed his body for science by consuming only processed foods, but even he was shocked with the results. And no, it wasn't just weight gain. For 30 days, he made his diet consist of ultra-processed foods to see what effect it had on his body. Now, 60 to 90% of the standard American diet consists of ultra-processed foods, so he just ate like most Americans, but the changes his body made were horrifying. What makes something ultra-processed are the chemicals added to your food. Your cereal, frozen meals, chips, some granola bars. It's not just fast food. By day 7, he started craving food much more often. By week 3, he was always tired and had frequent headaches. He also gained 14
Why you gotta
pounds.
do that?
The hunger hormone in his blood, which signals your brain whether it's time to eat, increased by 30%. The hormone that tells your brain when you're full decreased. The diet also affected his brain and made new connections between the reward center in his brain and the area that drives repetitive behavior. So he was quite literally becoming addicted to processed foods. And what's worse is he did this study in the UK where they've banned many chemicals that the US still allows in their food.
I think most of it because processed food has little to absolutely no fiber, as it's all been stripped out. Fiber is what keeps us full for longer. What do you think?
I'm afraid of talking about this information. However, it needs to be discussed more because it is not. It is openly available for you to be able to look into. If you have been keeping tabs with the exposure coming out from the highest levels, you probably already know of this information. However, If you have not, this may come as a shock to you. There is a man named Jonathan Oddy, last name spelled O-D-D-I. He openly discussed with the police in 2018 about being a slave to Cassie and Sean Combs. Remember, Cassie never filed a lawsuit against Sean Combs until 2023, but we have a man talking about this all the way back in 2018. In this interview, he discusses a lot more than that. He also tells us how Donald Trump is a threat to a certain system that will be ushered in globally. There is also shocking information about key people in the industry who are connected in funding certain organizations who are currently involved with the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Please do your homework on this if you do not know about this information. If I tell you too much, they may come after me. I love you guys. God bless you.
Deception runs deep and reaches great high. Fully surrender to God and He will protect you, bro. Off topic, but he could definitely be a narrator for Discovery Channel or a radio voice.
You eat this. Because I've been eating this. This is not refrigerated, by the way. It's on the floor of a basement. I'm sick to my stomach. They have an A-star rating. I go here every week. It's my hangover spot. I'm about to deliver myself to Wiley's vet. You deworm him, I need a dewormer. I'm eating worse than Wiley at this point. The A-star rating, how do they even get that? I figured out how. New York City, we're all stacked on top of each other. It's very normal that residential buildings, the first floor is actually a storefront. It's a restaurant, it's a cafe, it's a grocery store, whatever. That's very, very normal. In this instance, this was in the basement of the residential building. So like the commercial space and the residential space sort of share a basement. A resident who was living in the building just happened to smell disgusting meat, went in, snapped a picture. Ice, water bugs, there's garbage, because garbage is stored in the basement. Like, truthfully, if you're a health inspector, why would you check the residential part of the building? You'd just be checking the kitchen part of the restaurant that like literally is the restaurant. This is a heated cellar next to a laundry room, and I just walked past the restaurant. They are open and serving. You can get this right now. I need someone to just like pull my guts out and give me a new one at this point, because I don't even know if a dewormer can save me.
So many restaurants are like this, unfortunately. That's why I started making food at home. You still look good. Wow, there's a piano too? I bet it's haunted. That's why there's no squatters. Man, look at that. Ooh, it looks creepy though at night.
Have you ever heard of Dora the Explorer in reverse? Well, you will not believe this, and you should watch it all the way to the end. If you love the devil, then keep scrolling, but if you don't, then subscribe or follow for more.
Let me know how you feel about this.
But here it comes. Here it comes, here it comes. There it is. Look. I'm gonna chase this joker all over town tonight. I'm gonna chase this joker all over town. Look.
Ooh.
A giant UFO. I'm chasing this baby all over town. Let me get into my car. Here it comes. There's another one. Look. It's on above the building. Wow. Ain't no way. Look at that. Out of my car, not doing anything dangerous.
Project Bluebeam is so cute in real life.
What I'm about to say is probably going to sound really crazy, but if you have the Holy Spirit, catch it by the Spirit. A lot of these big major chain restaurants are owned by witches and warlocks and Freemasons. And the reason I say that is because I have literally experienced it myself. I was going through a phase where I was addicted to Wingstop, like craving it all the time, literally like every day. Like it was crazy. Wingstop ain't even that good. So I'm on a weight loss journey. I'm down 47 pounds. So this was a problem for me because I was always craving it. It was my cheat day meal and it's so fattening, like literally like, bruh, I can't be eating that much. So one day my friend put in the group chat, if you've been craving a certain restaurant excessively, pray about it because there may have been witchcraft done over the food to keep customers coming back. And if you've ever watched the YouTube channel Life is Spiritual, Erica Mukisa used to be a witch and she's African and she talks about how a lot of the businesses, the hotels, the restaurants in Uganda would do witchcraft to attract customers to keep them coming back and craving their food. And so I took it to the Lord. This is why it's so important to have Holy Spirit-filled friends. I prayed about it and I renounced any witchcraft that was done over Wingstop to keep me craving it. So I renounced it, denounced it, canceled it in the name of Jesus, and I ordered it again to see. And it was disgusting. Like literally, I was so turned off by it that I was like, I don't even like Wingstop anymore. And this was after like a year of me like eating it consistently. And so I renounced it, I ate it, it was disgusting, and I have not craved it since, and it's been a month and a half. So I say that to say when you eat out, make sure that you are praying over your food and canceling any witchcraft done over it.
Bless it with the blood of Christ. It will cancel everything.
So the Daily Mail posted that Britney Spears was picked up by emergency services with like a blanket around her and a pillow in her hands. And to be honest with you, it's quite heartbreaking. She looks scared and sad. This looks more like Britney Spears than anything I've seen on Britney Spears in a really long time. That's not the craziest part. The craziest part about it is she was found at Chateau Marmont, which I know a little bit about just from this app actually, but it's been known to have celebrities staying there and very nefarious things happening, including a lot of drug use, and a lot of celebrities have spent their last days there, including John Belushi. It just has decades of like dark history surrounding it, so I find it odd that they found her there. Maybe I shouldn't say odd, I just think that she has a lot of handlers, and I feel like for her to be there is just kind of offbeat for her. I'll probably be following this because I'm actually genuinely concerned for her. I know that she has basically had no control over her entire life, her funds. I mean, this girl, she started out as a little girl, and these people have been using her as a cash cow her entire life. So I feel horrible for her. I don't know how one gets out of this situation, but I just hope she finds a way to get out somehow.
What if this was the true finding of the real Britney? Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
You know that NASA has done research on the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and what they found proves the Bible is true. The Bible says in Matthew 27:45, when it's talking about Jesus' crucifixion, that there was darkness in Jerusalem from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. And if you Google when scholars think that Jesus was crucified, it was April the 3rd, 33 AD. But this is what will blow your mind. According to NASA.gov, there was a partial eclipse in Jerusalem on that day. And they say that it lasted 2 hours and 50 something minutes, the exact time that the Bible also says. So if you believe that the Bible is true, then subscribe for more.
We don't need NASA or any organization to prove that Jesus is God. Indeed, Jesus is King of Kings and He is God. Lady. 430 kmh is equivalent to 267 mph if you're not familiar with kmh. You know, we just had our first bullet train here in Indonesia from Jakarta, which is the capital city, to Bandung. Usually take almost 4 hours, now less than 30 minutes.
Explain that to me. Store-bought and from a farm. Just got these from a common grocery store. They're white. These came super small. There were some bigger pieces. The size and the color.
It's because it's chemically ripened instead of sun ripened. Strawberries are done like this when out of season.
Folks, hi, how are you guys doing? Man, Hawaii. Since 12 o'clock, midnight last night till now, Hawaii have gotten 133 earthquakes, hitting at anywhere between 0.1 to 0.6 or 0.8 meters beneath the Earth's surface. Those are very shallow earthquakes. I said it already, Hawaii, look out. 100 and around 36, maybe close to 150. I stopped counting. When I reached like 136, I didn't even want to count anymore. And I think I have like another 40 something minutes to go back to 12 o'clock last night to backtrack. So what I'm trying to say to you folks, Hawaii, you guys are going to have a volcano eruption. And I said that yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. As I said before, this is not me being hyperbole. I'm not fear-mongering and not being an alarmist. I see it, I'm just going to call it. The magma is moving, and at that depth, that tells me it's just a matter of time before magma start gushing out the ground of Hawaii. The island is called, actually, believe it or not, Volcano Hawaii. That's where all the activity is happening right now. California is getting hit, and also Mexico, but everything right now is on Hawaii. Hawaii, if you guys are watching my video, and if you're close to that island, move and move quickly, because What I'm seeing is what I saw in Iceland before the volcano eruption in Iceland. That consistent quake behind each other. First of all, they're not even recording the small tremors. These are earthquakes between 2.2 to like maybe 3 point something. These are big enough earthquakes to cause volcanic eruption. Plus they're having swarm of smaller earthquakes that's not even being recorded. So the bigger earthquake, they're at like 136, close to 140 so far within what time it is now, within like 12 hours. That is a lot of quakes, folks. Hawaii, get ready. You guys are in a lot of trouble, and I hope my video get there. All right, guys? Stay tuned for more updates, and you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching my videos and following my platform.
Praying for everyone in Hawaii. May God protect you all.
A non-basketball question. Did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Admire this young man. Only one royal family for me also. God is good.
Ayurveda suggests never ever refrigerate these 4 foods, otherwise it will convert into toxins. Number 1, garlic. Never peel the garlic and refrigerate it because it catches the mold. Mold in a garlic can cause cancer in the system. So rather than a good benefit of garlic, it starts damaging the system. Number 2, onions. Never cut the onion in half and refrigerate it. When you refrigerate the onion, it increases the starch substance. High starch in the system can damage your kidneys and pancreas rather than helping you. Number 3, ginger. When you peel the ginger and put it in the refrigerator, it catches the mold again. Now, high mold in ginger can cause severe kidney problems. And number 4 is rice. People think cooked rice keep in the fridge can help in blood sugar and cholesterol levels. That's wrong. Never ever do that. Cooked rice can catch the mold very quickly. Starch level goes very high, starts damaging your gut, pancreas, and your kidneys. Follow me for more tips.
Where we live, we put everything in the refrigerator, even the refrigerator.
I'm going to be the first one to say it, and I damn sure am not going to be the last to say it, but it needs to be said. Just on this app alone, you can find videos on white people by black people, videos on Hispanic people by black people, videos on Asian people by black people, making fun of them, talking shit about them, being rude to them, being racist to them, especially white people. More so the women than the dudes. Black women hate white women for some odd reason. But y'all want to wear their hairstyles. Okay. It's come to my attention that in today's society, black people are way more racist than white people have ever been. It looks like a really bad competition. And nobody wins. And that's partially why I come on here and say the things that I do. People also get mad at me because of the way I say things. I say things the way I say things for a reason. So when I see black people being racist on here, I can't just say, hey, please stop that. I have to come at them with the wolf way because that's the only way they'll learn. So the next time a person says black people can't be racist, simply laugh in their face.
I see people for who they are, not the color of the skin.
Buying from Shein and Temu, a Korean investigation found children's products contain high levels of carcinogenic and toxic chemicals. One pair of shoes contained more than 400 times the permitted levels of chemicals that have been linked to heart diseases and some cancers. In the latest round, the Korean authorities selected 8 products sold by Shein, including children's shoes, leather bags, and a belt, and it found that several contained high levels of phthalates, which is a chemical used to soften plastics. 3 other bags had more than 150 times the standard allowed. You'll notice that many of the products can be found across Temu, AliExpress, Wish, and Shein because they're mass-produced in southern China without safety regulations. And this includes anything plastic, synthetic, and perhaps even metal.
Oh man, I love Temu. What about the toxic foods we're eating so corporations can make their millions? And have they tested Nike and other big name companies?
Every name of either a person or of an object or of anything in existence
The name carries the energy as I described in the introduction, and that energy, part of that energy is also the numerical, the equivalent, the numerology of that word or name. Now, one has to be careful because not everyone's a master of this, but there are those, there were Kabbalists and mystics, who are able to look at someone's name and able to somewhat recognize certain patterns and personality that that person has. And we're not talking here any prophecy or miracles. It's simply because the name carries energy. And the name carries energy, means it's your energy. It's the name that you were given, which we're told the Arizal, the writings of the Arizal was a great mystic who says that when parents give a name to children, it's like a mini prophecy. They may not know it, but God puts the right name in their mouths, which is why.
My name doesn't matter anymore because I'm in Christ.
These are
Looks like he has a Bluetooth and a microphone. What do you think?
narco submarines. These are basically submarines built by drug cartels. These submarines are usually made of fiberglass, which makes them very difficult to detect on radar. US Coast Guard themselves said that they think they only catch about 25% of the narco subs. These are incredibly sophisticated pieces of machinery with engines, electric generators, air conditioning, kitchens, and 4 to 5 man crews that are trained and prepared to cross the Atlantic Ocean. And also, a lot of times, the Pacific Ocean.
Wow.
Many narco subs are built in clandestine shipyards in the deep jungles of Western Colombia. The Pacific coastline of Colombia is extremely dense with forest canopy, and it's really easy to hide stuff there. Conveniently, this is right next to a bunch of confirmed locations of cocaine manufacturing. And even though groups like the Colombian Navy have gotten better at catching these narco subs, especially in the jungle before they get sent out, a lot of them are still out there. In fact, authorities estimate that there are tens of these operating right now, mainly going between two places, Western Colombia and Mexico, transporting cocaine, and Northern South America, Venezuela, Guyana, and Brazil, from which it's thought that a lot of the cocaine that goes to Europe, like to Spain, originates.
Even the cartel have better submarine than Ocean Gate. When they get home, it takes 10 minutes to get out the car. You know, the old guy in the red car looks like he's on life support.
You're going to realize it one day. That happiness was never about your job or your degree or being in a relationship. Happiness was never about following in the footsteps of all of those who came before you. It was never about being like the others. One day you're going to see it. That happiness was always about the discovery, the hope, the listening to your heart, and following it wherever it chose to go. Happiness was always about being kinder to yourself. It was always about embracing the person you were becoming. One day you will understand that happiness was always about learning how to live with yourself, that your happiness was never in the hands of others. One day you will realize that true happiness comes from within, and no external factors can define it. It was always about you. It was always about you.
To understand happiness, you must first experience pain, suffering, and betrayal all by yourself. But if you want to know the true happiness, get to know Jesus Christ.
You say that child support is fraud.
Child support is fraud because they don't follow their own procedures. There's something called the separation of powers. And this is not my opinion, this is fact. There's a Supreme Court case law called Holmberg versus Holmberg, where child support services was found guilty of violating the separation of powers. What is the separation of powers? There's three branches of government: judicial, legislative, and executive branch. If you participate in one branch of government, you cannot participate in the other branch of government. But somehow child support was able to create their own family codes. That's legislative. They enforce their own child support orders and modify them. That falls under the executive branch. And they find you guilty or have a hearing in their own child support administrative hearings, which is they're participating in the judicial branch, even though they are administrative. And that they have been found guilty of violating the separations of powers. And when they said it's also unconstitutional. So anything that conflicts with the United States Constitution, any state statute or any state constitution that conflicts with the United States Constitution is null and void, because the United States Constitution and Supreme Court case law is the supreme law of the land.
Is that true? If you don't pay child support there in the US, you will be put in jail, suspended your license, even stop visitation? Let me know in the comment, please.
The #1 plant to put more stem cells in your circulation. Hello, I am Christian Drippo. I'm a stem cell scientist and author of the book Cracking the Stem Cell Code. Over the past 20 years, I have studied 20-some plants for their effect on releasing stem cells. Allomacroclada is so far the top plant. To the untrained eye, this looks like aloe vera, but it is not aloe vera. It is Allomacroclada that is endemic to Madagascar. There's about 65 species of aloe in Madagascar, and Allomacroclada is the only one that has been used for centuries to make a product called Vahona. It's a product that is sold into markets throughout Madagascar, and it's used by people for all kinds of health issues, but more specifically for old age. If you want to basically age with strength, vitality, to be able to continue to work in the field well into your 80s, even 90s, they use Vahona. So when I heard about Vahona from a colleague, I just thought that looks like a real good candidate for a plant that has an effect on stem cells. So we tested it and we discovered that Allomacroclada almost double the number of stem cells in circulation within 2-3 hours of consumption. Now, Allomacroclada was not a thing on the marketplace outside of Madagascar. So we had to develop our own system of collection, processing, and a lot of this, actually most of it, has been done by a colleague of mine, John, who has moved to Madagascar to handle this whole project. And that's an ingredient right now that we use exclusively in our product, Stem Regen. It is the most potent ingredient that you can find.
You know, aloe vera and the other plants are growing everywhere here in Indonesia. Love all natural remedies, and I want to learn as much as I can.
This is an underground fridge that runs without electricity. It's called a ground fridge, and it's a naturally cooled cellar that's a modern take on the traditional root cellar. It can hold 12 refrigerators worth of fruits, vegetables, wine, and much more, with its 3,000 litres of storage capacity. The ground fridge is simply dug into the ground and covered with the soil that's been dug up, giving it natural insulating power that means the temperature inside remains steady and cool throughout the entire year. Installing it doesn't require any permits like a normal cellar would, and ventilation is done by a fan with a timer that gains fresh cool air during the night. It's big enough for 2 people to comfortably stand in, and you can walk in and out of it upright. It's perfect for those who are looking to live a bit more off-grid. What do you think of the ground fridge? Would you or someone you know like one? Tap like if you would and let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.
They said it felt terribly. Due to the bill, it gets a lot of humidity, so food goes bad really quickly. And they don't promote it in Belgium anymore because of this.
You know, a guy like Sammy Davis Jr. was into Aleister Crowley. You look at pictures of him, he looks like he's singing special music at church, you know, or Sting, you know, the musician from the Police. You know, he was into Crowley. I hear him at the dentist office, you know, in the waiting room. It's not like dark, evil, hip-hop and satanic, dark, psychedelic rock music, but we got to be careful when we look at the worldly things and try to say, well, I'm going to do worldly light. You know, I'm going to do things that aren't as dark. One of the people in the music industry who said we're doing witchcraft music was actually the Beach Boys, who you'd think they're totally innocent. We were doing witchcraft music. The Beach Boys, I thought they were innocent, just singing about, going to the beach and going surfing and so on. And so, I could quote a number of people that would really surprise you in terms of them also being into these things. How about I Love Lucy? She got her ideas of being on I Love Lucy from a communication from a dead loved one, a dead friend. So the devil's really working through this. Don't try to find worldly light in the things that aren't as bad. Come apart and be separate, saith the Lord. Touch no unclean thing, and I will receive you. And that's the joy. We can be received by Jesus.
There have to be some secular artists that are genuine. Do you know any folks?
You can build houses like this for less than half of a normal house. And they have insulation factors of R85. It stays cool in here. It's something like living in a cave down under the ground. The amount of money you would save on building a house like this, you could heat and cool it the rest of your life.
What makes this construction interesting opposed to any other type of construction? They come in and they bolt down these giant balloons and fill them with air. Once the balloons are fully inflated, they spray high density foam, 3 to 6 inches, all the way around until it hardens. Then they come back in and they tie rebar grids, 10-inch grids all the way around, giving it structure, and then they spray the concrete on the interior.
Very interesting to build. I mean, when we was building it, we had people coming here and standing around just watching us do it. They were amazed. In the morning there was nothing here, but after about an hour, these big balloons are coming up.
I like it. No right angles. Wind safe. In America, Congress would oppose this. Outlaw efficiency.
Country just elected its first female president in one of the deadliest elections in history, which saw this one group assassinate more than 30 candidates. The country in question is Mexico, and in their general election for 2024, they elected this woman, Claudia Sheinbaum, as their new president. Mexico's elections are no strangers to violence, with being a politician as one of the most dangerous jobs in the country. But this year was notable because of just how bad it got. Past elections have consistently seen candidates assaulted or assassinated. This year, there were a total of 828 non-lethal attacks against election candidates, with 37 assassinations, where one of them was committed in broad daylight at a crowded campaign rally. And what's worse is that these assassinations are mostly done by this one group of people as a form of intimidation. Mexico is plagued by gang violence, and it's a problem that the country has struggled to deal with. This is in part because they ensure that only politicians who are lenient towards gangs get elected by murdering and threatening candidates who are in favor of cracking down on them.
Keep speaking up. It's all true. God bless Mexico. Orale.
I want to thank God for giving me this opportunity to earn my doctorate, my family and friends for their support, and my mom who allowed me to share my testimony, as well as my teachers who have literally showed me the love of Jesus. I used to be a former math teacher, and what happened was I got a phone call indicating that my mom had a burn incident which almost took her entire life. That's when the Lord changed my careers to go into pharmacy. When I got here to Loma Linda, I left everything before I got here. I left my home, I left my job, and I just arrived. When I got here, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And basically, I found myself homeless, sleeping in my car with no food to eat. There were times I was eating the free apples and the free nuts in the pharmacy department. There were times I had classmates that literally gave me fruit from their trees for me to make it through. But I'm going to tell you right now that I serve a good and wonderful God. Prayer was the answer to every problem in my life. It put me in tune with divine wisdom, which knows how to adjust everything perfectly. So often we don't pray in certain situations because from our standpoint, the outlook looks hopeless. But nothing is impossible with God. Nothing is so entangled that it cannot be remedied. There's no human relationship so strained that God can't bring reconciliation and understanding. There's no habit that is deep-rooted, that's so deep-rooted that it cannot be overcome. There is no one that is so weak that they can't be made strong. There is no one that is so ill that they can't be healed. And there is no mind, hallelujah, so dull that it cannot be brilliant. Whatever we need, if we trust God, He will supply
Amen.
it. God told me I was going to be a pharmacist, but it wasn't without its challenges. I remember sitting in this church during Easter weekend in the back discouraged. I had found out that I could not return to this school anymore. And I heard the pastor say, if you find yourself dismissed from your program, just pray the prayer that the thief on the cross prayed. Lord, remember me. And that's what I prayed. Lord, I need for you to remember me. And guess what, y'all? He did. He restored me back into school. I'm standing in front of you today as a graduating student. And not only that, he even sold my home. We serve a good God. You see, I never gave up. I grew up on welfare. I never gave up. I grew up on food stamps. I never gave up. I grew up eating government cheese, and that made the best grilled cheese sandwiches ever, but I never gave up. I'm going to tell you right now, Les Brown said it best. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and show enough your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, but if you gladly sweat for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, then with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold, famine, poverty, nor gout, sickness or pain or body or brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God, you will get it. I'm Rachel Tammy McDaniel, the daughter of Esther Melanies Fields, the granddaughter of Betty Jean Williams, and the twin sister of David Matthew McDaniels. God bless.
Oh, praise God. Lord, remember me.
1 year ago, I left corporate for good, and here is more of what I've learned. They do not want top performers. They want mediocre people. They want to reel in top performers in the beginning, but then they want to smash you down and make you conform to be just as average and normal as possible because you have to serve this giant machine. That's why in the beginning, in the interview process, they want all of your ideas. They're encouraging you to say, oh, we really want to make change in the organization, and we really want people that are going to really make a difference here. But then when you actually get into the role, they get annoyed if you try to improve things. You become a nuisance if you're pointing out things that could be better, even though we should be making places better. Not only that, you become a target when you're a high performer for all of the insecure people that are in the organization. You're going to have peers that can't stand it. And God forbid you have a boss that's insecure and feels like you're outperforming them. They will ruin your life. They want the high commitment and enthusiasm of a high performer, but they want the answer taking and the lack of independent thought of an average conforming person.
I think they want high performers that also drink the Kool-Aid.
Paul Rosalie on my podcast, and he's a dude that he spends a large amount of time saving the rainforest. Cool guy. He goes down to the Amazon and he's like saving the rainforest from people that are cutting it down. And what he does is these loggers are just poor, man. You know, they're not trying to destroy the world. They don't have options, man. You know, they're poor. And so what he does is he gets them hired to protect the rainforest. So he gets the same people say, hey, man, this job, what's this job paying you? How about we give you more money and you protect the rainforest? And like, oh, thank you. So he hires these guys to do the opposite of what they were doing. And they've protected millions of acres of rainforest just doing this. But this dude, he told me he jumped on an anaconda because he was trying to, like, they were trying to find out how big it is. He couldn't get his arms around it. He's my size.
Yeah.
He couldn't get his arms around it. So he's my size. So imagine this. Imagine this. A snake that wide. He said it was at least 25 feet long. It was slithering through the water, and he felt it slither, and it's dark out, and he tried to hold on to it. So he tried to grab a hold of it like this.
I wish I had that kind of courage.
I don't know if that's courage.
I don't know, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Jungle scared the shit out of me, man. I like watching him on TV.
Okay, hugging a snake, I think that guy might be reaching a bit. What do you think?
So our history wants us to believe that Helen Keller, who was deaf and blind at 18 months, learned how to speak 5 languages, and she also had a British accent somehow. My stepdaughter's deaf. I know for a fact, firsthand, how hard it is for a deaf person to learn how to speak. And sorry, that is a lie. Number 2, Stephen Hawking, who supposedly discovered black holes and major scientific things, has been wheelchair bound and not able to speak since as early as anyone can remember. In the 1970s, when we do have video footage of him, he cannot speak or say one single word and has a translator that pretends to know what he's talking about. Then they give him a chair that speaks for him. So it's a computer voice that speaks, and he supposedly came up with some of the most incredible scientific discoveries of all time, black holes, etc. Another massive lie. They didn't have that technology then, they don't have it now. Give me a break. The third thing, let's see. We have Beethoven. So Ludwig Beethoven, who was allegedly deaf and wrote some of the most incredible masterpieces of all time. I've been playing music. I play almost every instrument and have been playing them all since I was 4 or 5 years old. And I will tell you firsthand, I've taught music for years. I will tell you firsthand that that is impossible, especially having a deaf stepdaughter. You're not writing masterpieces like Beethoven. That's a joke. They've been telling us that we come from monkeys. That's also a lie. They tell us we are spinning on a ball. That's also a lie. Why do they tell us all of these things? Because if you believe that a person that cannot talk or move can discover black holes, what are you ever going to be able to discover? If a woman that is deaf and blind can speak 5 languages with a British accent, what are you ever going to discover? If Beethoven, who was deaf, can write masterpieces, what are you ever going to discover? If you are just a monkey that somehow became a man, but somehow now they're still monkeys, you're always going to be a monkey. What are you ever going to become? They've been lying to us since the beginning of the time. We live on God's earth that has been manipulated by Satan himself. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe it anymore. And you don't have to either. Remember, this is for your entertainment.
You know, I heard Stevie Wonder is not blind, but I understand. The amount of lies we were taught in school is mind-blowing.
Look at the Diddy, and I told you guys this. I told you they do sodomy ritual. Told you that's what happened to Justin Bieber. They participate in that to open the chakra frequencies. I have said that for decades. Not about Bieber, about other people, but Bieber for a good 10 years.
Oh.
Secondly, Cassie says that Diddy took her menstrual blood. That's in the court paperwork. Now, she could be a crackpot and be lying, but she's not. Because that's how they do their rituals. That's how they do it. Period. That is the ritual. A lot of that has to do with spirit cooking. A lot of that has to do with the invoking of energy into a human vessel, a host body. A lot of the drugs and a lot of the incantations. Rihanna was trafficked out here. Rihanna was trafficked. Her parents collected cash and we got stuck with Rihanna or blessed with Rihanna, however, if you like the music, whatever. But these people are being sold and sold out. These kids, you're 15. Oh, everybody wants to be fit. No, not everybody does. No, they don't. Yeah, let's see. Jenner trash. Let's see. Who will take Diddy down? I know, poor Cassie. When you're caught in that, just think about how many women can't leave their marriages. And I mean, you know, I was married 36 years. So I'm not saying that either way, but you know, people stay for decades in marriages and decades and don't get out. They die. Look at the generations before us. They die in marriages. People, I mean, look at Tina Turner and that prick Ike Turner. Like, she went out. It's her talent. He decided that he was responsible for it and he tortured her for it. He beat the out of her. He did drugs. He cheated. He stole her money. He got her famous, as in he introduced her to people, but without her talent, there would be no really anything else, and he couldn't handle it. So how long did she stay with him? I mean, he broke her nose and did all kinds of things. I mean, what? Yeah. So when you look at people in relationships, it's very hard to get out.
People who don't believe this need to look into Marina Abramovich.
Out of this earth, I am in human form.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Listen,
Moving on.
Listen. Listen, I am helping the Amazon jungle be restored. I am a guardian for them. I believe in indigenous helping. I believe in the people. I use their medicine, and I have healed and helped over 60 people so far in the 8 months that I have done this. I didn't ask for this. It is just part of me.
Oh, she was against it when I first.
You can ask some stories. I see dead people now. I don't choose to see it. They come to me.
Be a mental health specialist or something if you see dead people.
Why? If it's helping somebody and I pass on a message to somebody, why is that wrong? Because you can't understand it. But one day when
Girl,
you need me, I'll
if you're
be here.
seeing objects, that's a sign of like.
You don't see them. They pass you a message. You give it to the person and they heal.
Oh my.
I charge $111 for what I do. It's not fake.
Trust me, I don't.
$110?
I didn't say you couldn't make any money off of spreading that. Everyone can make money off of
No,
anything.
You want to tell?
No, I've seen her heal people with it.
You think I chose that? You think I chose to?
Chose what?
She knows that you couldn't really know, and the person's like, "How the hell did you know that?" That's what I've seen.
And how have I helped them release?
Fine, tell me something about myself.
Well, it doesn't really work. Like
It doesn't work.
Oh, it has to be the convenient stuff. Yes, only when it works.
No, it's not the convenience.
It's only when it comes to her randomly. She can't.
And it's not
make
randomly.
It come
It's
to her.
usually when I do hot bait. My higher self will talk to your higher self. I can
Higher
serve you
dis.
right now, buddy, and you're gonna
Serve me.
regret it. Okay, you want to get served?
Wait, what do you mean? What is it? How does it work?
I blow it through your nose.
No, I don't want that. I don't want.
Grabs all your
cancer.
energies.
I don't want that.
Sends you to Mother Earth, and gonna come out, Caleb, that you've been holding in
Listen,
your
I
body.
pooped twice today. We do not need to go.
It
more
can
than
make
that.
you poop too.
I don't need to go to the jungle. I don't need to
You're
do
not
this. I'm
going
gonna
to the
live in the
jungle.
world. I'm gonna exist here.
I help people through seizures and everything. So
Okay.
All right, the neon green lipstick tells me everything I need to know.
She seems too clean for comfort. Maybe she's new to the game.
She's here for Super Bowl weekend, so I don't want to sound rude, but she looks kind of young. Maybe some with sick fantasy.
It's messed up, but it's true.
Yo trabajo para este colegio.
Ya sé.
Inglés para niños.
¿La amiga que se dedica a ella?
Ella vive con el esposo.
Ella que es dama de casa.
Sí, ella.
¿Cuándo te invitaron para venir?
Lo teníamos programado por el Super Bowl.
¿Van a ir a ver el Super Bowl allí en el estadio?
No, hay varias fiestas.
We found a social media account where she seemed to have taken a lot of high-end type professional photos.
So
she
what?
takes trips around the world. She has a very prestige group of friends that have money. She travels a lot for a teacher. Those trips are paid for because teachers don't make that much in Colombia.
Who bought your ticket for this trip?
It's not your business.
No me pago. Pues es que es muy amiga mía. Y la otra vez que vine estuve en la casa de ella.
Y la última vez que vine.
Vine con un cantante que me mostró.
Porque estabas viajando con un cantante. ¿También eres cantante usted o?
Yes.
Do you have a picture?
Sí. ¿Lo quieres ver?
Supposedly, she was a backup singer for an international performing artist. So we're just gonna try to verify that information. She has pictures with him. Oh. She's also into modeling.
Okay, I don't get this, okay? What is wrong with having prestige group of friends? And even if someone pays her ticket, what's wrong with that? Affording soft life is a crime now?
Coffins draped in French flags mysteriously appeared by the Eiffel Tower over the weekend. And warning, because the reason why gets pretty eerie. In fact, this is just the latest symbol that has mysteriously appeared in France recently. In October, the Star of David began appearing, spray painted on people's houses, apparently to show where Jewish people lived. Blood red handprints appeared on the Holocaust Memorial in Paris. And now we have coffins, which had a message on the inside saying French soldiers in Ukraine. And here's the thing, while initially authorities thought these were probably hate crimes, after questioning the people they arrested related to these stunts, they realized that not only did these seem to not be hate crimes at all, but they were all connected. And their new leading theory is even more concerning. Now stay with me here, but if you've seen the movie Leave the World Behind, which, key point, Michelle and Barack Obama were executive producers for, there's a scene where all of these red pamphlets are being dropped from the sky, and in Arabic writing, it says, "Death to America," leading the characters to believe that Iran was behind all of the crazy shit that was going on. But they later find out that in other areas, similar pamphlets were dropped, but this time they had Korean writing. It then turns out that all of this was actually part of a military maneuver to topple a country's government from within. An enemy country sows just enough disinformation and false flag events to create confusion and fear. And without a clear enemy, the country's public starts to turn on each other. And if done successfully, the final stage of this military operation happens on its own. Civil war. Now, back to reality, what's interesting is that authorities now believe that all three of these recent stunts had links to Russian intelligence.
This Black Ops 6 teaser is getting out of hand. Alright folks, I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make better content. Thank you for staying till the end. There's a free gift for you in the description below. Thank you for watching. Peace. And have a prosperous day.
2, 1, go. Okay, fingers in. Okay, seatbelt comes off. There we go. Loop in. Okay, now with my other hand, I'm going to kick the seat back and I'm going to open the seat. I'm going to open the door, okay? 3, 2, 1. All the way down. I'm out and I can escape freely, okay?
Three fingers. 2 fingers. Seat down.